Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Brawley City Council and successor agency to the Brawley Community Redevelopment Agency, Public Financing Agency, Public Improvement Corporation, regular meeting agenda. It's a long title today, right? For Tuesday, December 1st at 6 p.m. I think the mics are a little bit hot. Can you turn them down just a little bit? So again, welcome. I hope you've had a pleasant day. The weather's changed, and I hope we're all enjoying the days out here in Brawley, California. Next on the agenda is roll call. If we can have roll call, please.
Councilmember Noriega.
Here.
Councilmember Campbell.
Here.
Councilmember Couchman.
Here.
Councilmember Warden.
Here.
Councilmember Nava.
Here. And next on the agenda is our invocation, and it will be presented by Councilmember Don Campbell.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we just thank you so much, Father, and we thank you so much for this beautiful day, Father, and we thank you so much for the holidays that we just enjoyed, Father. And we just ask that you look over this evening, Father, and bless everyone that's here, Father. And we just thank you so much for your many blessings, Father. And the scripture tells us, Father, that the day is going to come that where all mouth will confess that you are our God, Father. And we just thank that and we praise that, and one day we'll meet again face to face. Father, we just thank you so much for our city staff and elected officials, Father, that put themselves out in the public, Father, to serve. And Father, we just ask that you give them the strength and knowledge, Father, to serve and do what's pleasing to you. Father, we just thank you so much for our church families, and our pastors, Father, that teach us your word, Father. And Father, I lift the Gibson family up to you today, and Father, I lift the Vasquez family up to you today. You know that situation, Father. We just ask that you comfort those families, Father, and let them know that you're in control. Let them know that you've got things handled, Father, and sometimes we just don't know why things happen the way they do. Father, we just thank you so much for your many blessings, and most of all, we thank you for forgiving us for our sins, Father, and keeping us in your grace. And we just ask that you have mercy on us this evening, Father, and we ask all these things in your Son's precious name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Councilmember Campbell, if you could please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilmember Campbell. Thank you for that invocation and for the Pledge of Allegiance, Councilmember.
You're welcome.
The next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion to approve and there's a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is special business. Adopt resolution number 2015, resolution of the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, reciting the facts of the general municipal election held on November 3rd, 2015, declaring the results and such other matters as provided by law.
So at this time, the council has the opportunity to approve by resolution the results of our general municipal election.
Make a motion to approve and adopt the resolution.
I second.
There's a motion, there's a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is special business 2B, outgoing Councilmember Don C. Campbell's comments. Councilmember Campbell.
Really? I just want to say thank you this evening to everyone that's here and for all the support that the folks in Brawley have provided us. It's really been a pleasure serving on this council. You know, and I always said it's a privilege. It's a privilege to be elected and to be chosen by the folks to represent and do what's best for the citizens. I've met a lot of wonderful people along the way. I've served on a lot of committees, and they have always been good. And I tell people a lot of times you do get some phone calls and some messages sometimes for people that's concerned, and they have a right to be concerned when things are a little shaky. Us as elected officials and leaders, we need those calls to hear people out and to hear what they have to say and to try to make things better. Not saying that you're always going to please, every call, but you always do your best to try to do that. I want to mention SCAG this evening because I've served on that committee for 5-6 years now, and SCAG is a wonderful organization. They do a lot of things for our region. The regional transportation plan that they're going to submit or present here the 1st of December is a huge project, and I just hope that we stay engaged and stay at the table, because if you're not at the table, they're not going to hear you. People are not going to come to you and present things to you. But it's been a nice 12 years serving on this council. I've worked with a lot of different council members. We've always tried to take care of business, and it's one thing that a couple things I always say. I will work hard, and I'll be visible, and I will always keep God first. He's been very instrumental in my life, and he's helped me along the way, and things have really been good for me. I want to say thank you to my wife for 12 years of running around and doing different committees and getting home late, getting home pacing the floor, and she's wondering, what's the matter, But it's been good. It's been good working with the city staff. It's been good seeing some of the things that have been accomplished here in the city. And it's just been wonderful. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I want to say congratulations to Norma. She campaigned hard. She campaigned as a professional. And I can't say to her and her husband, Julio, welcome aboard. You guys are going to do a good job, and I know that. And I'll say this, and I'll leave it at this, and there's something I learned at SCAG. Working with SCAG and those folks at that region, they teach you. There's a saying that you always try to do your best. And if you know better, you should do better. And I'll leave it at that. And I'll ask that God continue to bless you guys and your families and this council, and I have confidence that things are going to be well. Congratulations, and thank you very much.
Councilmember Campbell, all council members here are going to have an opportunity to say a few words to you, but we've sat together for 8 years. It's been a real honor, a pleasure getting to know you, and I consider you a good friend, and I don't want to keep this too long.
We're our family.
Give me just a second. This is harder on me than it is you tonight, for sure. It's been a real honor serving with you, and I really wish you the best. Don, you've been a great friend and a contributor to this community. You've done a lot for not just the city of Brawley, but for us here on council and for your family, and you have a lot to be proud of. And it's been a real honor learning from you and sharing this space with you, and I've had the opportunity, the privilege, the honor to serve 8 years with you. And so this is just a very small token of recognition. It's for you. It's on behalf of your fellow council members, on behalf of the city. But it's a plaque, and it says, in recognition of Don C. Campbell, council member, for 12 years of dedication and commitment to community service from the city of Brawley, presented this December 1st, 2015. So I wanted to give this to you. Again, thank you very much, Councilmember Campbell, and I know I've talked to you privately, but I just wanted to share that with the public. He's done a fantastic job here for us on the city council and for the city of Brawley, and I appreciate that, and I'll pass it on to the fellow council members for their comments.
Don, I don't know that I can say much really to add on to what Mayor Nava just said, but For me, your wisdom, I've always considered you kind of the statesman. I'll leave out the elder part, but the elder statesman on council. But truly, your wisdom, your experience, your friendship, you've been a great example of how to serve. I have certainly learned a tremendous amount. The wonderful part is you are still a very beloved member of our community. Nothing changes.
Oh, yeah.
And I know you will be there in both our council, our support, and I just want to let you know personally from the Wharton family, you have been a fantastic servant, and I really appreciate serving with you.
Thank you, sir.
Councilmember Noriega?
Sure.
Yes.
I've worked with Don for the last 2 years, and we went cruising a lot, Bertha. We went cruising a lot. We did a lot of looking around to see what needed to be done, what needed to be fixed, and I had him as my mentor because when Don speaks, pretty much everyone listens. He's got a lot of wisdom in his time that he's been here. There was times that I didn't understand things, and I could call him, and he would calm me down and explain, let's look at it this way, or let's do this. And so it was really great to have him on board. I'm very sad that we no longer will be able to work here, but I've known him years past, which made it even easier and more comfortable to work with you. God bless you, and that's probably the best thing I loved about you was God was always first. And it always came out of your mouth. You didn't care who was around or where you were. So God has been very good to you. And you are very blessed to have Bertha at your side because everywhere we went, she pretty much was there.
Yeah.
And so whatever you decide to do, run for the county or whatever, we're behind you. Thank you so
dear.
much.
Thank you.
Councilmember Couchman.
Oh, yes. Yes, I've worked with Don now for going on 6 years. He's been both a mentor and an inspiration to me. When I first came on the council, he has always been extremely helpful. He's always provided me with important advice. He's been there for the community. Many of you, I don't know if you understand how much dedication it does take, but Don, as a council member, was extremely dedicated. But as a youth advocate, and youth programs and everything around the county and especially here in Brawley, he's been extremely dedicated, and he has a love of Brawley that is difficult to put into words. Don, I go to Don when I have a question. If there's something going on, I always would call him, ask him about what was going on. He's always there with advice, always there with God. He always brings that in, and he's always been extremely helpful to me as a council member, and I know the dedication that he put into the city of Brawley, and I'm going to miss him from the council, I know, and I'm going to miss some of his advice. However, I will still call him and see him and go to him for advice, and I appreciate that, and I know he'll be there for me because that's just the kind of person that Don is. So I really do care for him much as a member of the council, but also as a member of the city of Brawley. And so I'm very pleased to say that I'm sorry to see him go, and I wish him all success in any endeavors that he chooses to take. And I do appreciate your service here. And as a citizen of Brawley, I extremely appreciate your service to this council.
Thank you, guys.
All right, well, thank you for those comments, everyone. I know Councilmember Campbell appreciates him, and I certainly do as a friend and as a fellow council member. So, Thank you. Councilmember Campbell, we also have some recognition from the State Assembly Member's Office and the State Senator's Office. So, if you could please come up at this time.
Good evening. My name is Bianca Velez. I'm the Senior Field Representative for Assembly Member Eduardo Garcia. And we also wanted to give you a certificate of recognition and thanking you for the services that you've provided, not only the city of Brawley, but all the other services that you provided for the other, for all the other organizations that you served as well. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I do want to read the last part. Be it resolved by Assembly Member Eduardo Garcia that he takes great pleasure in drawing attention to Don Campbell in appreciation for his dedication and commitment during his many years of service to the city of Brawley. He commends him for many contributions he has made to our community. Dated this day, 1st of December, by Assembly Member Eduardo Garcia.
Might as well stay here.
Don't go anywhere, brother.
Yeah, don't go anywhere. My name, Mayor, Council, City Manager, staff, my name is Hector Araujo. I represent State Senator Benueso, and as well, I would like to congratulate Mr. Campbell for his many, many years of service, his devotion to the community, being an advocate for the people, and you've just, overall, a good dresser. Again, I mean, I won't read it. There's so many things we can say about him, and you guys, you people know exactly what type of caliber person he is. So I just want to present you with a certificate from the state.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And we appreciate the recognition for Councilmember Campbell.
George, if I may, I would like to say one last thing
Of
before we
course.
move on. You know, when this journey started several years back, we was at the church making hot dogs for the kids, and a good friend of mine, Edward Soto, said, "Don, you need to run for city council." I'm like, "What, Edward? You need to run for city council," and I decided to do that, and I was elected November of 2003. Edward passed away in May, the 21st of 2003, and I just hope that the things that we accomplished, that it was pleasing, because I know he's in heaven and thinking about the day we're in the back of Valley Baptist Church making the hot dogs for the kids, and they convinced me to get on this journey, and that's what started it. So again, I just want to say thank you to you guys, and it's really, really, really been a pleasure. Man, it's been a wonderful ride, and it has been a privilege. I'm a kid that grew up in the projects that had a big dream, and you keep the right perspective and stay focused, and those dreams will come true, because God is truly good. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the administration of oath of office for council members George Nava, Donald Wharton, Norma Kastner-Howdy, City Clerk Alma Benavides, and City Treasurer Miguel Miranda. We can come out here in front, please.
solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Thank you. Doc, again, thank you. Congratulations to all, and another big round of applause for Mr. Don Campbell, please. Love you, bud.
See you later.
Councilmember Norma Kastner-Howdiggy is going to be joining us in just a second. You can please join us here.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, okay, thank you. And who is that?
Well, let's welcome Councilmember Howdiggy, please. The next item on the agenda is, the microphone is on, so it's live.
Okay.
You're good to go. And next on the agenda is item 2D, incoming Councilmember Norma Kastner-Howdiggy's comments. So,
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I want to thank the citizens of Brawley who exercised their right to vote and made this happen, made this dream come true for me, for giving me this opportunity. I'm really excited to enter this chapter in my life. As you all, I think most of you know, and when I was out campaigning, I think most of you heard my history, but I worked for the state of California for the Employment Development Department for over 35 years. So I gained an extreme amount of knowledge and experience, and I feel that I'm ready to use that knowledge and experience to do some great things for the city of Brawley and for the citizens of Brawley. I'm looking forward to working with the city manager, with the staff, with the directors, and with my fellow council members in making informed decisions to pursue new ideas and addressing the needs of the community, to make this city, the city of Brawley, a city that will thrive. I plan to make sound and responsible decisions that will make a positive impact on all of the community. I plan to operate with transparency, be accessible and responsive to all of the citizens of Brawley and the community as a whole. Like I said, I wanted to thank all of you for being there, for exercising your right to vote. And I do want to thank Mr. Campbell and the rest of the council members that also campaigned. I appreciate the fact that everyone was a professional and it was a clean race, and Mr. Campbell is going to be very difficult to follow in his footsteps, but I plan to do my very best and be there for all of you whenever you need me. Like I said, I'll be accessible by phone or whatever needs you may have. I do especially want to thank, there's a lot of people here that helped me in my campaign. They worked very, very hard to get me to this place today. So I want to thank my husband, I want to thank my family, and I want to thank those special committee friends that hung in there all the way. Thank you so much, and I'm really looking forward to this great experience. Thank you.
Well, let me be the first to congratulate you and welcome you aboard, Councilmember Howdiggy. and we look forward to working with you. We have 4 years to work together, and this is just the start of those 4 years, and I look forward to working with you. And I'm going to allow the rest of council to make their comments as well.
Norma, I'm happy to see you here. One more female on this council is what's going to make it better. Thank you. Thank you to all of you for having her get to this point, for helping her get to this point, and God help us all. Thank you.
I'd just like to say that I've worked and known Norma for many, many years.
Yes.
A lot of years. I went to high school with her brother. I've known Norma working at EDD while I worked at the county in workforce development. And I've also known her by seeing her in town at businesses and other places. And we worked together on a lot of different things over the years. In the 35 years that I was at the county, Norma was there at EDD, I think all of that time. And so it's been a long relationship that we have, a long-term relationship, and I know that Norma has the best interests of Brawley at heart, and I know that she will do a fine job as a city council person. And so congratulations, Norma.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Wharton.
Norma, kind of opposite of that. Obviously, I did not know Norma personally, really up until we got involved in the campaign, but certainly have always known of. And if anything, I think I know other members, your kids, some of them a little bit more, but a wonderful family, reflective of a wonderful person, I think, with a qualified background. I think I stated to Norma when she first came up to me during the campaign trail that I think she mentioned, that this is going to be a strong field. Everyone's very qualified. But I think I mentioned back to you, I go, if my wife was a little bit, had a favorite that she was a little likened to, she really was impressed back when we were appointed, when you did come up, and even that was a competitive process. So it's no wonder with Councilmember Noriega here, you here, most of us here that were part of that process. 3 of us are here that competed in that. So I think appropriately, there's 2 things you need to serve more than anything. I think a kind heart and a willingness to put forth the effort. Everything else kind of follows, and you certainly exemplify that and more. So welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Well, again, welcome, and we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda. That's item 2E, election of mayor, chairperson for the city council, successor agency to Brawley Community Redevelopment Agency, Public Financing Agency, and Public Improvement Corporation. So I'll open that up for nominations for mayor and chairperson.
I would like to nominate Don Wharton for mayor.
There's a nomination for Councilmember Wharton.
Second.
There's a second on that. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Mayor Wharton. I'm going to pass the gavel along to Mayor Wharton now, and he's going to lead the charge from this point forward at the meeting. So congratulations.
Thank you. I did not know that. I thought there's outgoing comments and all that here. So
You're the mayor now, brother.
wonderful. Moving along for the next item, obviously, is the election of the mayor pro tem for the city council, vice chairperson for the successor agency to the Brawley Community Redevelopment Agency, vice chairperson for the Public Financing Authority, and vice president for the Public Improvement Corporation. Just as we did there, I open up. Do we have a nomination for that?
Yes, I have a nomination. I'd like to nominate Helen Noriega for mayor pro tem.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any more nominations? I would like to nominate Mr. Sam Couchman. Do we have a second?
I would second that nomination as well.
Okay, then for the first, for Helen Noriega, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Not in favor?
No.
That's 3 not in favor, 2 in favor. I'm sorry, 2 not in favor, 3 in favor. Motion carries.
That's
No,
wrong.
no, no, no.
Oh, I'm sorry, the other one. And for,
If you'd like me to restate, I can.
Yes.
So the nomination was for Helen Noriega as the mayor pro tem. That motion was made by Councilmember Kestner Haudegi and seconded by Councilmember Noriega, when the vote was taken, 2 people voted in favor and 3 voted opposed. And now you have a second nomination to poll the group on.
Do we have a discussion before the ending, before we?
Go right ahead.
Okay. I'd like to state for the record that in the process that I've seen, and I've seen it on paper, black and white, we have had a consecutive vote. In 2013, Sam became mayor. In 2014, Don Campbell became mayor. In 2015, George became mayor. And now Donnie Wharton, you're 2016. I don't really understand why my fellow council members are against the fact that I would like to be mayor pro tem, and you guys have issued loud and clear here that that's not what you want. It does state in our norms and procedures about that it's a turn if you decide. But of course, there's nominations. But I truly cannot understand, you haven't given me, at any time, giving me a reason why I cannot take my turn, why you are skipping me. There are times that I have felt discriminated, and this is one of the big times.
If I could, let me, and I appreciate those comments. I think it's important, if anything, that discussion could have even been had ahead of time, but I think we may as well have that discussion here. This process, this protocol, is the same process and protocol that's been in place, Helen, long before you and I got here. Minimally 8 years, I think 8 to 10 years. And there's a couple things I want to explain with that. It's not a simple rotation that's just based on chronology. It's rotation based on chronology and voter count. And the reason for that is there are times where there are 2 new council members. There could be even up to 3 council members that are voted in at the same time. There has to be an order to it. So to equitably break those ties, it was instituted with a voter count. So it's really an internal process that's been in place, and we've had multiple council members, including Councilmember Nava, prior Council Member Miguel Miranda, who's here, who adhered to the same rotation. That was my understanding from the time that I've stepped on council. So I felt it was fair and equitable in and of the fact that it accounts for top vote getter. It also breaks any potential tie or misunderstanding, as you can see, because without that, the only thing I'm going to finish with, other than that, it leaves it up every year to an arbitrary process, and it has not been that. It's been this rotation with consideration for voter count. You were reelected with Mr. Couchman at the time. He was the top vote getter in that election. You are actually next in line, Helen, next year for Mayor Pro Tem, which I 100% support. And we've talked about that. I would.
And no, sir. One of the things I can say is, first of all, your first 3 years, you were not elected by the people. You were appointed by the council. So you didn't have, in fairness, and you say not to throw you under the bus, but in fairness, because you were appointed, you were never elected, so you didn't have any votes. In your 3rd year, like this is my 3rd year, you were appointed Mayor Pro Tem. So again, you're not making any sense why that follows through. You were put there and appointed as Mayor Pro Tem. We elected you, but again, if it doesn't, you were not voted by the people, so where did you get the election process?
If I could add just some commentary for clarification. At this point on the council, I have served the longest term on council. I've been here, I'm starting my 9th year, and I had some of the same frustrations when I was first elected. When I was first elected, there was 8 candidates. I was number 3 of those 8. And so my position starting out was at the very bottom. So year after year, it progressed, and in my 4th year, I was made Mayor Pro Tem. And so that's the same outline that you have at this point. That's the same outline that Miguel Miranda had. And that's really the same process that Council Member Mayor Wharton had.
He was elected Mayor Pro Tem, sir. Excuse me. He was 3rd year of being here.
If you could please just allow me to clarify the point, I'd love to make it.
But you're not clarifying.
I am. He wasn't elected. He filled in a position. It's very unusual to have appointments, especially in the city of Brawley. We've had very few, if I can only think back of 12 years or more.
2 and 25, right?
2 and 25 years. So the process is very unusual for all of us. However, he was appointed to fill an elected position that was set by Ryan Kelly. And it just filled in with the same spot where he was at. He wasn't elected, you're correct, but he filled in for a person. And that person, Ryan Kelly, was elected in 2011.
Has
and-
nothing to do with, sorry, Donnie Wharton.
Absolutely it does. He was
No.
appointed to fill that position.
To
He
fill the
fit-
position, sir.
To finish out the term. I don't think there's any
Okay,
confusion.
you know what? Let's not even have any more discussion because you have already discussed it amongst each other and you guys have already decided a long time ago when I first got the phone call 2 or 3 weeks ago. Thank you.
And with that comment, I want to read from the norms and procedure that the mayor and mayor pro tem are peers of and serve at the pleasure of other council members. So it's really a unique privilege. I think many times I always say this, I am absolutely perfectly happy here being a council member. I think first and foremost, and I really believe all of us are, and I do. And Helen, I know that of you, absolutely.
Can you continue to read what else it says, sir?
Yeah. That's where it ends
About
under
the
mayor's selection.
Well, about the taking turns. There's a place there where about taking turns, sir.
So far as possible, and that's the comment,
And
which
yes,
is pretty big.
so it wasn't possible because this is where you
This
guys
is-
decided long time
I
ago.
want to make this clear
It's sad.
publicly. Helen, it's unfortunate you think that.
I
For the
know.
public to know, this has been the process before you and I have
Donnie, you
gotten
weren't even
It
here. You
has
don't
been
even know the
8
process.
years.
I certainly do, and I've been here longer than
Sam
anybody.
has too.
And it's the
I've
same
been
But
here
it's
process
not
I
the
followed.
process. You were appointed, in your third year, you became mayor pro tem. I'm sorry I have to argue that point. I know that point is correct. You were not elected, you were appointed in your third
Yes,
year,
but
you
you had to be
became,
elected
just
in order
like
to
I
be
am
mayor.
here right now,
But
today.
but there had to be an
But,
election. for
like I
you
said,
to
I
be
have been
mayor.
discriminated against before, and I feel I am being discriminated again.
It's unfortunate, and I would share this with the public. This process is really a council process. It's unfortunate that it's become a public process. And with respect to claims of discrimination, I would just say for my own self, and I don't speak for the rest of council, it's just not the case. If anybody has been to council meetings, you know that we're very professional. We respect one another. It's a process that I have followed, and ever since I was first elected, I respect that process, and I respect my fellow council members, to include Councilmember Noriega. Although we may not agree on many items, it's still a professional working relationship we have, and I want to make sure that people understand this has nothing to do with
But
discrimination
let's
of
not lie
anyone here.
about being
Miss-
disrespected. I have been disrespected.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to call for the question. Sure.
Of course you do.
We'll call for the question. So to reiterate, the second nomination,
The second nomination for Mayor Pro Tem was made for Mr. Couchman as Mayor Pro Tem. It was a motion made by Mayor Wharton and seconded by Councilmember Nava.
all those in favor?
Yes.
Aye. All those not in favor?
No.
No.
Abstentions? None? Motion carries. Mr. Sam Couchman, Mayor Pro Tem, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure, step on it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Just to clear a little bit air confusion, I don't like to hear discrimination, and I don't want it to get, if thinking in your mind, racist. It happened to me, Ms. Noriega, 2009, and I thought George was against me, but when I had the opportunity, and we attended at the League of Cities, it was clarified that each municipality out of the 510 municipalities here in California, it has the respectful issue on council members, those that come up on top. And the reason they're doing it, because in other municipalities, especially the small communities like ourselves, they kept on having mayor pro tem over and over. And I know your feeling. It happened to me, but I didn't take a negative. I said, well, I'm going to ask, and that's what I was told. And
It's not a negative, sir. I'm not being negative about it. I'm just wanted to be fair, and it has not been fair.
I think the
You
process.
have not been on this side and to take.
Oh, yes, I have.
Well,
I've been there
not in
for
my
6
position,
years.
sir.
Oh,
Not in
no,
my
you know, with all due respect, I just wanted to clarify that, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miguel. What we'll have next, I'll move on to the next item of F, outgoing mayor comments.
All right, everyone. Well, again, I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank council for their confidence in me, and I want to thank the public for not just the reelection, but the opportunity to serve as mayor. Unfortunately, tonight's events, it's put a little bit of a negative damper on things, but I want to remain positive and let you know it's been a real honor and a pleasure in serving on the city council as mayor and representing the city of Brawley. I know sometimes some of you, it's a confusing process, but it certainly isn't for us, and it's just, you know, a process that we followed, and I think people recognize the fact that we do operate in a very professional manner. We may disagree at times, but certainly I want to make sure that we remain positive and we work together regardless of our disagreements, and it happens from time to time. Not always, but it certainly does. And, you know, there are not just communities within the Imperial County, but communities throughout the state of California that face a lot of issues, whether they're financial or whether they're amongst personalities in council. And I think we can think of one clearly in Imperial County that has a lot of issues within their council. I certainly don't want to be that city, and I want to make sure that we remain professional. And again, I just want to thank council for the opportunity to serve as mayor, and I thank you all very much for coming out here and supporting the city council. I want to make sure that we remain positive throughout the year, and we work together closely. We have a new council member that's joining the ranks, and I want to make sure that we remain positive and professional. So again, thank you all very much.
Thank you. And Councilmember Nava, if I could also present, be my honor and pleasure. You have served actually your second term, and you're now going on 8+ years on council. Folks, I just want to explain, for those of you, and many of you know George, he is a very dedicated, hardworking council member. And again, we don't always agree, and I think a lot of us here will agree there are some issues we don't. But one thing we work our tails off for, there is a high level, regardless of what may appear on certain issue, of mutual respect. And one of the many things I've learned from George is exactly that, is his respect level for this agency, for this city, for this council. And you know where that comes from? Same place that it comes from a lot of us, and it's because of the respect level we have for each other and our families in this community. And so with that being said, I know there may be some tougher issues as we move on, but I couldn't present this to a better mentor, really someone that's become a great friend and a great public servant. George, I'd like to present you your mayoral plaque, your gavel. We've left it here, so don't try to peel it off and try to use it at home. But it's for your 2 terms that are noted on here from 2011 to 2012, as well as 2014 and 2015. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll display this with pride. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. And if we could also have our assembly member and our state senator's office also come up.
George, we wanted to also give you the certificate of appreciation for all the work that you've done here. And I mean, I can't say anything more. Everybody already knows you, and you've been a great person, a great friend to most of us. So I'll go ahead and present this to you and let Hector here say a few words as well.
Congratulations, Councilmember Jauregui and Mayor Wharton. I won't take up but a minute of your time. Our state leaders always believe that recognition should be given when due, and unfortunately not enough of that is done. So thank you again for your service, 9 years of service. You've been an advocate for small business. You're part of the community. You got a long way to go. We're happy you're going to be here for a while, and we want to recognize you with these certificates of recognition.
Thank you very much.
you.
Thank you all very much.
All right, and then the last item, and we will convene for a little bit of a break, will be my comments, and I do want to share, I think a lot's been said tonight, but it will continue to be an honor and a privilege for me to serve as a council member. And again, as we've already discussed, really the position of mayor, mayor pro tem, all those with a city like ours, in my opinion, it's really honorary. Outside of that, we all do the same, sometimes difficult work. But I will tell you also many times, this is about the best way I can think of that you can serve your community. With that being said, I want to thank each and every one of my fellow council members. Norman, with a tremendous congratulations once again to you.
Thank you.
It'll be fantastic working with you. But going right down the list, Helen, your dedication to the community continues. I learn a lot from each and every one. Sam, same thing from day one. I sat right next to Sam from day one. I looked over at his notes and noticed he was playing tic-tac. No, I'm just kidding. No, but was always there for council, was always there as we try to support each other on this council. And as I just obviously is mentioned, our outgoing Mayor George, again, another great example of a dedicated council member serving in our community. I would be remiss also if I didn't mention the numerous people, members of the community, the voting public, and really frankly every citizen within this city. It's because of the citizens that allow us to do the work we do. It's because of the citizens that allow our staff to go out and bring to you the services that you want, that you expect. And I'll tell you, I think it was set up here tonight. It's the whole reason why as council members that we're frankly here, because really it's no different when you really break it down, this seat versus that seat, because we're all citizens when it's all said and done. We serve our time here and many of us move on. And we go back into the community, continue raising our families, continue raising our grandchildren, continue supporting this community. So again, it's a tremendous honor for me. Thank you very much. Thank you for the experience in the last 3 years. It's been some of the best experiences that I've had in my life, short of getting married to my wife, Susie, short of my 2 boys being born, short of some of those family moments. This has been a fantastic ride. My wife is missing tonight, and I don't want law enforcement to go out, not in that capacity, but she is up in Northern California because my younger son of the 2 had surgery today. Unfortunately, the timing of that was probably not the best, but it was elective surgery. It was on his wrist, but it's the first time that 20-year-old has gone through something like that. So she went up there to be with him tonight, so I've been getting pictures. So if I seem a little bit out of sorts, yes, it's because it's an exciting night, but at the same time, I am thinking of them and thinking of his recovery. But along with my wife comes a big family, and I do have my sister-in-law in the crowd. I see her there, Holly. The family support has been tremendous, and they have been there actually all throughout. That allows us to do what we do as public servants, which I think, as Don Campbell mentioned, a lot of that is away from home. A lot of that is late night phone calls, early morning phone calls, and all the various different things that we all participate in. So I love all my family tremendously, every bit as much, I hope, as it comes out, as I love serving my community. So thank you for them. Each and every of our staff members, I don't want to forget them as well. We're really what makes everything that we think about, that we implement, you make it happen. Rosanna, you've been a fantastic executive leader, all the department heads, each and every staff member. It's what brings me back. It's why I ran with pleasure this second time for re-election. It's great working with you. And our city attorney, our city clerk, and again, I don't want to leave everybody out, anybody out, but it's what makes this a really rewarding position. Anything outside of that, I hope everyone has a great holiday, but God bless all of us, God bless Brawley, and we're going to take a little break right now for about next 15-20 minutes, hopefully get some pictures. There are some snacks out there, and we'll reconvene after that and finish the rest of our meeting. Thank you. We'll continue our meeting, and we are up to item 3, our public appearances, but before doing that, if the council would be so kind, we'd like to move regular business item C, discussion of potential action with MAG Coalition's request to sponsor the Anti-Gang Awareness, Family, Health, and Outreach Fair, we'd like to go ahead and move that up just to accommodate, because I know the representatives of MAG have another engagement to go to. So if we're okay with that, I'd like to move that item. Do we need a motion for that, or is
No,
that?
you
Okay.
do it.
Okay, so we'll move that, and then if the Garzas would like to come up and make their presentation, that'll be great. So again, this is for regular business, item C.
Okay, dear sir, Mr. Mayor, it's my honor. Welcome to your new position as mayor. Welcome as well to your new position as a councilwoman. It is great to see another female coming from feminist, but I think that anyone who serves in the best interest of the community, regardless of gender or race or color, is absolutely welcomed, and so welcome. I open that with that. As you guys all know, Mothers Dominicans Gangs Coalition, I've done a presentation in the past with the city council, and today we come to you to ask, first of all, for your continued support and prayers as our family gets ready to celebrate the 3rd death anniversary of our son. It's hard to believe, because for us it's like yesterday that he was just here. But thanks to this community, our home, we have been able to turn this around. And we continue to work with our councils around the county, and especially with all of you who have been family, not just our representatives, but you guys have been at our events. We honored you in our first year when we did our awards gala, but it's been a partnership that I hope will continue. We decided to take a more active approach against the anti-gang awareness by hosting something closer to his anniversary in order to reach out to the parents and the youth and to show them that there's other opportunities that they can take advantage of and participate in, rather than the gang activity in the streets. I know Chief Crenshaw and I have talked on several occasions about, how we can diminish the violence here in Brawley, and I think we're on our way to doing something, but I think we can still continue to do more, which is other items that I will bring forth to this council in the future. But today, I'm here requesting sponsorship for the first time in a monetary way, because it is something that we need for this upcoming year. 2016, we feel that we're going to be reaching out to more of the youth, and especially here in Brawley, which we always serve, and also reaching out to the county, because we also have students that are at the Del Rio that need some service, and they're at the county level. And so any amount that you guys wish, we did leave you with a packet that said the sponsorship levels, and I will leave it up to the council members to decide if, they would like to talk about it, have any questions regarding what we do with the donations and the sponsorships of this. We have finally one sponsor come through, and Rogers and Nissan, and they're excited about being the Go Big or Go Home, sponsor, and we're looking for more Go Big or Go Home sponsors. We are scheduled to speak at the El Centro City Council after this, and then at Imperial City Council tomorrow. Still waiting on the other city councils, but you guys are always the first that I come to, because you guys are our family. So thank you. Martin, do you want to say something?
Hi, good evening. I also do want to actually thank you guys for your continued support that you guys given us, not only as a city council, but as, like my wife said, our friends, family that we've been together for a while, and just want to thank you guys for for giving us the opportunity to be able to help us out with this. Thank you.
I actually noticed that.
Thank you. Yes, we do proudly display that. And the Garzas, it goes without saying, we've worked very closely, and it's bittersweet, you know, the work, because it's hard not to do this work and obviously understand what this means to your family. But I always like to point this out, the work that you guys are doing, you've really turned this around into a real public effort. A betterment of where we live, not just here in Brawley, all throughout the county. And I think this has the potential of being something that really can go statewide or even nationally, because I know that you are so dedicated to making that difference. As far as the anti-gang awareness and the upcoming fair, I can just certainly tell you, it really is go big or go home, but there's not, many of our budgets are probably limited, but I think most important is us messaging with you to get all the support we can, especially from private sector. But I think what you're looking for, I believe our budget, and I did check with this earlier, is we're coming up about the halfway mark. Where is it?
Our annual special events and contributions line item is $2,500 set for the city council, and currently remaining is $1,625.
So if I can give my fellow council members any input, we're left with $1,600, but any discussion? Councilmember Marie?
I think that this with Against Gang Coalition, I've, served under programs that help, get the gangs off the street and help the students at the school to be aware of what is going on and what not to do. I would like to propose a $400 fee for that.
So the bronze level?
Yes,
is it
$430.
the bronze level?
Yes, $430. $430.
Any further discussion?
For that, if that's...
We're not quite yet at the halfway mark, and we have $1,625 left, so that'll reduce our budget to about $1,225.
That's about halfway.
Would you consider, if I propose something a little bit different, if we were to use part of our budget for that, whether that's $200 or $250, and then the rest come from individual budgets? That way,
We could do that.
like it's $50 from each budget?
Okay, too, yeah.
Okay, so off of
Does
the council member travel and training
Yeah.
budgets?
Right,
Yeah, I think
$50
that's
from
fine.
each, would that work? And
So
then the remainder
50-50
coming
split?
from,
That way, we don't use the travel
Sure.
completely up, and then we have some of that, because we don't know what's going to happen for the last half of the year, but we will use our individual budgets.
Okay, so are we saying 230 and then the rest comes from us, from our budget, or 200? What are you saying?
He was saying the total amount of $430.
right, the 230 is
But just
fine. We
split.
could do 230 and then the rest come from our
Okay,
individual.
so I move that we give them $230 and the rest comes from our budget.
Okay.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Not in favor? No abstentions? Carries unanimously. Well, thank you very much, and I know you have other stops to make, but I do ask that you stay encouraged and keep doing what you're both doing. I know that message is getting out there, and if it keeps one kid, and I know it sounds cliche, but you are absolutely putting maximum effort to make sure nobody goes through what you've been experiencing. So God bless you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
So it's 480.
And
Okay.
430.
430.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
I thought it was
And
50 each.
I would also like to encourage maybe even getting a City of Brawley team out there to walk with us, and, seeing you guys as our council members there would be really great as well. So save the date. We'll have I think it's included as well, a Justice Walk on January 6th from the place where he was murdered in El Centro, 4 blocks to the courthouse where we hope to seek justice. And our date for our murder trial is actually January 4th. So it kind of plays into that week of making sure that it doesn't happen to another family. And one of the things that I keep reiterating is I can't believe 4 blocks from the justice system, my son died. And so that's where it happened. And so what we're hoping is to see all of you there, and inviting you personally. I'll do that as well.
I just want to let you guys know that I did talk to the Chief Malenio in El Centro, and they're going to be escorting us from the site when someone was murdered to the courthouse. that way it'll be more secure, more safe for everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, Mayor, I just want to clarify, we had said 230 from our budget, city budget, and then we said $50 apiece.
I think what we'll do is we'll make the difference up equally
It'd be
from our.
$40 per each council member. So the
Instead of the 50.
Total of
Right.
the 430 for the
$430 for the
bronze
bronze
level.
level sponsorship.
The bronze level.
And I wish you well in El Centro. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item, we'll go back to item 3, public appearances and comments, not to exceed 4 minutes. This is the time for the public to address the council on any items that are not appearing on the agenda. That is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city council. The mayor will recognize you when you come to the microphone. Please state your name for the record. You are not allowed to make personal attacks on individuals or make any comments which are slanderous or which may invade an individual's personal privacy. Please direct your questions and comments to the city council.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I would like to do something first, and then Tim is going to follow with that.
Sure.
Because he's part of that. I would just like to announce that my father-in-law passed away on Saturday, November the 28th. Don Gibson, Gibson and Schaefer Concrete, and he was an 18-year member of our Airport Commission, Airport Advisory Commission here in Brawley, longstanding contributor to the city of Brawley. One of his contributions was the Veterans Wall, the concrete for that out there, I think was donated in part by Don Gibson and Gibson and Schaefer Concrete. And his passing's left a real gap in our family, I know that much for sure. My wife's father, like a second father to me, and I hadn't known him that long, but I mean, overall, I think he did a lot for the valley. He contributed a lot to the valley in his years here. He's been ill in the last few years and hasn't done as much or hasn't been as active, but he certainly was here as a lifetime member of Imperial Valley, a lifetime resident, and I think he was born in Calexico, and his business primarily is in Heber, but he also has All-American Aggregates out on Best Road. And so, and his wife Bertie has been a strong contributor. Airport, they have 3 or 4 aircraft. They've always been important. Airport's always been important to them. And so I just wanted to say a few words on that and let people know that that's what's happened.
Sam, thank you.
Thanks, Sam. I just wanted to make a couple comments about Don. First of all, in his profession, dealing with cement was really well respected throughout the state, and really had a passion for that. Every time I'd run into him, he was really proud of the work that he did. And if there was concrete here in the Imperial Valley, he probably had something to do with it. But more importantly, for about 15 years, I've attended the Airport Commission. And Don was a regular member on that commission and really had a passion for the Brawley Airport. He and his wife, Bertie, would attend on a regular basis. He had a lot of knowledge of what occurred. And just up until a couple of weeks ago, he attended a meeting. It seems like it's just a couple of weeks ago.
It was.
And with a short absence when he was in the hospital. And so we were all glad to see him. And so we were really sad to hear about his passing, but I want everybody to know about his dedication and the time that he spent supporting the airport. And our commission today is a very close-knit, very positive, and very cooperative, not only with each other, but also with the staff of the city of Brawley and those that use the airport. So I want to say my condolences to the family, and want to make sure the public knew the dedication that he had for the city.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you. And if I can just comment too, I can't help, and Sam, since obviously honoring him publicly, I would like to say my personal experience as a 30-year pilot myself, you couldn't be in aviation and not know Don Gibson. But I also tell you, I served with him at the Imperial County Sheriff Aero Squadron, which he was very dedicated
For
as
20
well.
years, I believe he was a member of the Aero Squadron.
Absolutely, and that's how I started with the Sheriff's Department back in the mid-'90s when I started really getting involved. So just one of those salt-of-the-earth individuals. So again, I know we have a heavy heart, and I know there's maybe some others here in our Brawley family, and so sometimes I know this time of year it's difficult to deal and process with those things, but truly honorable people. Thank you.
Thank you.
So continue. Do we have any other public appearances or comments?
Eddie Camilo. I have a question for the attorney. Is he available to the public to write motions or formats to our representatives in Congress regarding appointment of legal counsel? because I've been trying now for over 30 years, trying to get legal counsel on my denial after denial from the VA, and I can't get anyone to help me. And before coming over here, I was listening to Mr. Bill O'Reilly from Fox Factor that the far left party is even going so far as to mandate that immigrants, because they're not supposed to be called illegal aliens because it's racist and it's bigoted, that they're going to be allowed to have legal counsel on how to appointed legal counsel on how to obtain all the social services that are available here in the United States. I say if it can be done for illegals or immigrants, criminals, and even terrorists, where they have this terrorist, he's going to get a special judge, a special attorney, a special paralegal, and especially legal, special food because of his religion. And the man is not even a citizen of the United States, yet he keeps citing the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the United States and some kind of terrorist act. Is there any way that you can help me fill out a form for Juan Vargas so that I may obtain legal counsel?
I don't know that I can help you do that, but I can help you do this. I'm a veteran too. There is the county has a service office for the veterans. I was going to go see her myself.
No.
Yes,
I've been going there for over 30 years.
Really?
They can only go so far. They can the DAV, the American Legion, the Paralyzed Veterans of America, they are not allowed to go into the federal district courts. They're not allowed to go into the federal district courts. And in my case, I'm asking that the government provide mandatory appointment legal counsel for veterans in the federal district courts.
Mr.
We don't have
Camillo, if I could, if we can take that, I appreciate during this public comment. So duly noted, and we'll certainly, if there's any resources or some direction, some thought behind that our city attorney can provide as far as assistance.
Probably what we'll have to do is talk to the lady and the gentleman that were here handing out certificates to the county. They're the ones, they're local people, they have offices, our state
Who's that?
representative. Yeah, that's who you need to see.
Garcia and I already spoke to them.
But have you, I know they probably would refer you to the California Rural Legal Assistance, CRLA. Have you discussed it with them?
No, that's for agriculture.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm talking about the federal district courts.
Right.
Mandating the government to provide legal counsel for veterans like they do terrorists, criminals, and illegal aliens. We don't receive any of those types of mandates.
Okay. Well,
Thank you.
Mr. Camillo, thank you. Duly noted, so I'd say if there's a resource that you find, then please come forward with that. Moving along, are there any other public appearances, public comment? None? I see Jason moving. Okay.
Jason, I think, wants to come up.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council, and staff. Jason Zara, Brawley Chamber of Commerce. Just wanted to give a quick reminder and invitation to staff and the public and the council about this Saturday will be the first annual Tamale Festival hosted by Inferno over on North Plaza. And then next Saturday will be our first official farmers market of the season, kicking off and we'll be sharing that one with the Rollers Only Car Club. So we're going to have a nice car show. They're bringing in a band from LA. It's going to be a big combined event on South Plaza the Saturday the 12th. So both should be wonderful family events, and we hope to see everyone out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Zara. Are there any others? Anyone else from the public? If not, we'll move on to the next item. Item number 4, consent agenda. Items are approved in one motion. Council members or members of the public may request consent items be considered separately at a different time by the mayor. Do we have a motion for the approval of the consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those not in favor? No abstentions, motion carries. Moving on to regular business, item 5. Note that we've already discussed item C. So we are moving on to item A, discussion and potential action to approve Brawley Chamber of Commerce request to sell and consumption of alcohol on city premises for the farmers market Saturdays. And then we list all our dates of 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on December 12th, January 9th, February 13th, March 12th,
The year
April
needs to be
11.
corrected, I'm
There's 1
sorry.
year on March is 20, noted, 2015 is to 2016. And the last one being April 11, 2016, we have our Parks and Rec Director, Pat Dorsey.
Is that a retroactive approval of March 12th? So all the beers I drank that day didn't count? huh?
Any motion will be a 2016.
Oh, sorry. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council. Exactly what you've stated, the chamber would like to request the sale of alcohol and consume alcohol at this affair. It's okay with the city
Absolutely.
council?
Okay, do we have any
Yeah.
comments? Go ahead.
Yes, I've had several phone calls and people at Vons and different places that I've been in the last couple of days, and they have asked me why is it that they would like to sell alcohol. They stated also, besides Ms. Judy Grant, who sent us a email, that it's a family affair, like Jason said. Why is it we cannot, when it's cattle call or extra activities, then they're not opposing it. But during a farmer's market, they would really appreciate it if we would really think about not having alcohol.
Okay. Any other comments?
Well, I don't know, I've been to the farmers markets and I've been to the other events that we've had, and I'm a firm believer that we should only allow nonprofits to sell the alcohol. I do believe that we haven't had, from police reports that I get from talking with the police department, we haven't had a problem with that. And I think that without that, I think it does take away something from the fundraising that occurs for those nonprofit organizations. I'm not necessarily somebody that goes out and drinks a lot at the event or anything else, and I'm not advocating that, but I do think that there is a place for that in those types of events. I happened to attend, I believe, 2 events, or at least one event the last couple of weeks where that was occurring also, and I don't think they were having any problem with that. So I'm not necessarily opposed to the selling of the alcohol, and I would have to get additional information, I think, in order to make that kind of decision.
I also have a comment, and I did receive a message from Ms. Judy Grant with respect to the alcohol sales at the farmers markets. I know they've had alcohol sales in the past, and from what I've seen, it's very limited consumption out there. It's very, very, very limited. So I wouldn't be opposed to having that approval. I know it's been done before, so I respect and understand Ms. Grant's concerns, but I just haven't seen a tremendous amount of drinking in those events. I think it does help with their fundraising efforts. So I'd be in favor of supporting the request by the Chamber of Commerce.
I would add that it's in a confined area. It's not like they're walking all over drinking beer.
Right. So it is a beer garden.
It is a beer garden.
A beer garden, right?
Yes.
Okay, any other comments?
If I may just clarify, actually, for the farmer's market, it's throughout the plaza unless
So you can
something
walk.
has changed.
Okay.
So you can walk.
And just a couple other items of note that might be of interest to the council. If I'm not mistaken, about a decade ago, up until maybe 5 years or so, we used to always use the garden as a very defined area in which people could consume, or sales and consumption could occur. In recent years, we've opened it up, and I think a lot of it was in response to other community events that were occurring valley-wide, where people had the opportunity to walk and enjoy their families at the same time as perhaps having an adult beverage. Interestingly, the experience has been, and I'm sure our chamber president may want to, our chamber CEO may want to comment as well, we have found the consumption at the farmers market to be relatively minimal. It's actually not incredible sales, but it's a nice offering to give the attendees, and there've been, as we moved away from the garden concept at places like Chili Cook-Off and other special events, you find there's less of a tendency to drink heavily because people aren't trying to make up in a short period of time while they're separated from their family unit. it's been an interesting experience. We haven't had.
The family unit being the actual family and not the beer, right?
Yes, correct. So we haven't had any major public safety issues arise. People have been very responsible with the drinking in these venues. But of course, it's up to the council to weigh all of the concerns.
We have.
Jason, you have further? Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate the concerns as well, and in fact, the Farmers Market Committee has addressed this from day one. If you come out to the farmers market, you will not see giant beer signs. There's no big wagon, there's no truck. That was an intentional decision that we're going to kind of split the difference. We want it to be a family-focused affair, so we try to make the vendors and the music and the kids' activities very, very visible. And there just happens to be some beer in the cooler where if you come by our booth and you prefer a beer to a soda or a water, it's available. But it is very deliberately low-key. It's not heavily promoted. It's not heavily signed. Obviously, Mariachi Night and Chili Cook-Off, the beer are probably as big of a draw as the rest of the event put together. Whereas at the farmers market, it's just another option because some people would prefer a beer with their tacos than a soda. And so we appreciate the opportunity to provide that opportunity, that availability, but again, we also are very aware that we want it to be family first, and we try to keep it discreet on purpose. So, thank you for your consideration.
Very good. Unless there's any further comment from council or otherwise, do we have a motion?
I would make a motion to approve the sale of alcohol, but to make sure that the police department is tracking that activity. So,
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Not in favor?
Me.
We have 1 nay, so 4 ayes, 1 nay. Motion carries. We'll move on to item B.
Mr. Mayor, can I make an announcement of our tree lighting ceremonies tomorrow night?
Since you're there, why don't we go ahead and throw
6
that
to
in?
8 p.m. at the kiosk.
Fantastic. We look
Okay,
forward
and-
to that.
And also our Trees of the Community. That's Saturday and Sunday, the viewing of the trees from 11 to 6 p.m. The raffle will start at, Sunday is 5 p.m. because the raffle starts at 5.
And same venue at the Lions Center?
At the Lions Center, yes.
Super. And we do have our entertainment for the tree lighting as well? Are the kids
Yes,
participating?
the kids are performing, yes.
that maybe Sam was.
Musical sound is very good. So that knocks out. Thank you. Ms. Dorsey. And we'll move on to 5B, regular business, discussion of potential action to approve resolution number 2015- resolution of the successor agency to Brawley Community Redevelopment Agency authorizing a preliminary and final official statement, a continuing disclosure agreement and purchase agreement, and authorizing certain actions relating thereto. And this is in our packet item on page 89 through 242. We have Ruby Walla, our finance director.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, council members, Ruby Walla, Finance Director. This evening, presented to the successor agency is the next step regarding our RDA bond refunding. We last came to council in October 6th, where the successor agency authorized and approved to move forward with the issuing of bonds, being that staff in consultation with the consultant or underwriter or financial advisor and bond counsel, that there is savings to be achieved for the refunding the RDA bonds. What that is we also at that time, following the Oversight Board approval on October 9th, we later then submitted the appropriate documentation to DOF on October 14th. What that did is started the clock, as DOF also has to give us their blessing, their approval for the successor agency to move forward with the refunding. We are still within that 65-day period to hear from DOF. However, this is the next step for the successor agency to approve the authorizing of the preliminary and official statement and continuing disclosure agreement and purchase agreement. What these are, the documents that you have with you are the draft documents. As you noticed in the packet, many of the numbers are not completed, are included as we get closer and closer, those, of course, the package will become final. It'll be reviewed. The team, since October, has been working together, and I have members of that team present. Doug Dove as our financial advisor with Barton Wells, Carmen Vargas with BOSC as she is the underwriter with this bond issue, and as well as Don Hunt that is acting as our bond counsel. So, as I stated, unless you have any other questions, nothing has really changed. Basically, this is the next step in our phase to get these documents ready to go out to the market and have everything on hand once we receive our letter from DOF. Lord willing that everything goes smoothly. Again, I did have communication with DOF regarding they are in receipt of our request. However, it kind of timed at the same time that ROPS were being submitted at the same time, so they have timelines to complete those reviews as well.
Ruby, could you kindly explain what ROPS are?
Oh, the recognized obligation payment schedules, those are the successor agency as well as the oversight board approves those. That defines the obligations of the now successor agency, formerly the redevelopment agency of the city of Brawley. And what we do, we prepare those semi-annually to submit to DOF for their approval, noticing from that tax increment that the county receives what we will receive for our enforceable obligations. Then the net of those tax increment dollars, then net of pass-through obligations that we have with the various taxing entities that then are redistributed back to the taxing entities. So in essence, it's similar to the savings that's going to be achieved with the refunding. The savings of the refunding will also be redistributed to the taxing entities, not so much just the city of Brawley. This is basically a refunding that will benefit all taxing entities.
And just as a recap, Ruby, thank you for that. Just for the public's benefit, I know this was covered before. What was the aggregate savings that we were looking moving forward with this refi?
A total of $1 million with our reserve that we have is $720 in cash, which was an annual savings. I think the annual average savings was about $25,000 or so annually.
And no change in terms of the terms?
No change in terms. The original term was through October of 2036, not extended. It was original term of the bonds was October of 2036, and that term has not changed. That is also included within the refunding. And I want to just clarify, the annual savings is approximately $40,000. About $40,000.
Okay, now, we do have the experts here as well, but I'll turn to my fellow council members for any further questions. I think there's a next step here.
I don't have any questions. We've gone over this item multiple times.
I would move for approval.
Okay. I have a motion, I believe. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, then we'll call for the question here. All those in favor?
Aye.
Not in favor? No abstentions? Motion carries, unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I want to thank Ms. Vargas and Mr. Hunt, as well as Dove, for coming on down tonight, so we appreciate that.
Have to come down.
We let you off easy tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that concludes, because we did finish item C on regular business. We'll move on to item 6, departmental reports. 6A is monthly staffing report from Ms. Shirley Benias, Personnel and Risk Management Administrator.
Honorable Mayor, council members, Shirley Benias, Personnel and Risk Management. Page 246 is our monthly review of how it stacks up per department as far as personnel, full-time openings. We have reopened 2 positions in Public Works. One of them is a reopening, the utility worker 2, and then we also opened a replacement position, utility leadman. The leadman was promoted to supervisor, so this is now an opportunity for a promotion. They're in-house postings only, not open to the public at this time.
Okay.
And then we currently have 4 cattle call temps still working with Public Works, and all 4 have no longer work at Parks and Rec. So that's kind of a recap. I'd be happy to answer any questions council may have.
It's nice to see that the 49 positions are with the police department and they're all filled.
Sir, they've been that way a couple times,
I
a
know
couple
they
months
have.
now.
I know they have,
I don't like
and
to
I like
point that
that.
out because then things change.
Because it's supposed to happen, yeah, so we lose police officers generally, yeah.
But we still continue to recruit for an eligibility list. We would love to finally have just an eligibility list that we can call up if we have any openings.
I do like that, that's nice. And the fire department also.
Well, fire department stays pretty
Yeah, they're
staffed.
pretty
They're pretty
If I just may
stable.
offer one
Sure.
comment. Just a revisit for council and our newest council member, once a month, we do just do a quick recap. This is a takeoff on the budget, all the approved positions.
Right.
And so we, council has been very focused on ensuring that we're not growing outside of what the parameters that were established in the budget process. So we try our best to get current information into your hands every month.
I just needed clarification on what you indicated for the cattle call.
We hire temporary workers to assist in the preparation of the city, beautification of the city. It's been consistently for the last couple of years, 4 positions in Parks and Rec, and then 4 positions in Public Works. It depends on their budget's amounts, if they can remain beyond the cattle call window. We're still in cleanup mode after cattle call. Parks and Rec felt that they didn't need the assistance any further, they can use in-house staff. Public Works is still going through the process to finish up.
Okay, so up until when will they be working?
I have 2 slated to stop working as of this Friday, and I'm in consultation with the Public Works Director on when the other 2 can be released. Their workload is such that they're still keeping them pretty busy. And it's all budget-driven. Temporary help does not come from the full-time budgets. The top portion of the form is actually full-time regular positions, complete with benefits. The lower portion is mostly temporary help, part-time help. There is 3 positions in the lower portion that's actually with benefits, and those are limited term folks that work out of our library lambs vehicle.
Okay, thank you.
You're more than welcome.
Okay. Very good, thank you, Ms. Muniz. We'll move on to item 6C, Angel Tea Party, from our library director, Marjo Mello.
Good evening. You know how we love to party at the library? So we're early this year because there are so many things going on this Thursday evening. So I know we're wild over there, right? Okay. So please come at 5. Normally it's 5:30, but please come at 5. We have renamed our Angel Tea to the Angel Tea Molly event because we have tamales. I know it's mispronounced. Tamale dinner. This is to honor our volunteers and our patrons, our staff, everybody that makes the library such a good place to work and to study when we're not having story time, because then it's noisy, but to find materials, take advantage of the computers, take advantage of our programs that we have, and we are really looking forward to honoring everybody. It should be a very fun event. And we also have can I talk about that one?
A very special unveiling.
Yes, a very special unveiling of something that's 8.5 feet long.
Sure.
Yeah. Why is everybody?
Is it a tamale? Hey, is it a tamale? Is it a tamale?
No, it's a tamale, not a tamale. But we have 15 dozen tamales this year. We keep going up with the quantity. And if you do the math, that's a lot of tamales. Okay. I don't do math, Ruby does. Okay.
How come I only get 1?
Well, because last year we only ordered 10 dozen. So this year we've got 50 dozen, so hopefully we'll be able to have 2 for
I can
people.
have 2, that would be
Yes.
great. Thank you.
Okay. But we're having a special unveiling that a lot of other departments are going to help install what is going to be unveiled. Pat's department, we're borrowing something from, a dolly from the police chief to help
move it in the item. So you have to come and find out what it is. Okay?
Way to
So-
keep the suspense.
Speculate.
Yeah, it should be,
This could be really good.
it is.
Yeah,
It's
this
really
could be
cool.
really good.
Did I give away too much?
No, I think it's fine. I think that is
no idea what you're talking
She's like, it's purple and blue, and it's got.
Yeah, it's,
No,
and it's, yeah.
we're good.
Good, we're good.
Okay,
Thank you.
We look forward to it. Thank you.
Smurf.
It'll be a great event.
yes.
Just wanted to make one comment. It's neat to honor all the people, but the reality is if you've never gone to have the tamales, that's really what you're going there for. And it is a neat event. I think I've attended it 6 years since I've been here, and it is a neat event.
I know it's not on the agenda, but I'll throw in the shameless plug. If there's any left over, we can enter the Tamale Festival
Yeah, that's
on that contest on Saturday. So that's the segue. Fantastic. We'll move on to item 7, informational reports. 7A is 2016 City of Brawley Calendar by Shirley Ramirez.
This is just an informational item. Every year we, as December comes to a close, we publish the next year's calendar. We have included it in your packet as an information item, and it's to call out all of our council meeting dates that are scheduled, as well as the various holidays that are known, and our paydays as well.
Fantastic. No further comment. We'll move on to the next. Will be item 8, City Council Member Reports. And I will start with Councilmember Haragi.
Thank you. It's been interesting. Well, one thing I wanted to, I'm not, getting used to the new format, and actually, item number 4, I probably should have abstained, because included in the consent agenda was the approval of the minutes from the last meeting, or the last 2 meetings. So if we could correct that, because I would need to abstain from that. No biggie, but just to make sure everything is
Noted.
right. And then I also wanted to thank Ruby, because when I got this big agenda, there was all that material regarding those bonds, and I probably spent about 2 hours of her time on the phone today, but I wanted to thank her for her time to enlighten me on that particular subject. And other than that, I'm learning and looking forward to learning a lot more. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. We'll go to Councilmember Noriega.
None.
And Mayor Pro Tem Sam Couchman. I'm sorry,
Yes.
Skipping. I'm going geographically now, so go ahead.
Okay. Basically, since the last meeting, I attended the KC Welding ribbon cutting, which was a very nice event. They had a grand opening of their new store here in Brawley on East Main, and they did a fine job with that. It was a really great event, and in fact, the food was so good, I stayed there instead of going to Rotary, and I shouldn't say that, but that's what happened. I stayed there for that thing because I enjoyed it so much, and it is a really neat place. I also attended, I was somewhat of a traitor to the city of Brawley this last couple of weeks. I attended the Honey Festival in Westmoreland. Now, they're kind of a sister city, and I thought we should support them, so I went to their Honey Festival and walked around there. It was a really nice little festival, and Brawley Elks helped them with their breakfast. I think their club is smaller, and well, they don't have an Elks Lodge, but there's another club that sponsors the breakfast over there, and Brawley Elks went over there and helped them with that. I think that was in the newspaper, and I talked to several of the Brawley Elks. They really did a fine job, and they really enjoyed that. And then I also, I bite my tongue, but I did go to the Imperial Farmers Market also. They do know how to put on a farmer's market in Imperial. It was a well-attended event, a lot of people there, and Wanda and I happened to be going by, and we just happened to stop in. And so, but they have a nice event, and it was well put on. They had a live band like we're going to have, and they had all those kinds of things, and it was really, really nice. But I did do that, and I think that's all that I've done. And we've had the other things that have gone on, but I think that's it for my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sam. And Councilmember Nava.
Several things. I was also went to the 11th annual IBDC dinner, and I know Councilmember Couchman was there as well, and that was in Hopeville. So it was a little bit of a drive, but it was an enjoyable event. Got to see a lot of leaders from throughout the county there, so that was always it's always a pleasure. Also attended the KC Welding mixer, and that was a lot of fun. It's great to see a company come into the city of Brawley. They made couple $100,000 investment just to get the place up and running, and not to mention inventory and everything else that they have out there. A lot of assortment. It's actually a huge assortment of materials, supplies, equipment, and so I'm very happy to see that moving forward, and I think they've already got a very successful business in another part of the county, so I think this will transfer out to Brawley and the surrounding area. I also was able to MC an event for Comité Cívico del Valle. It was the Environmental Summit at BUHS, and it was a day-long affair, and they had many speakers from throughout the state of California there, and I was able to be the Master of Ceremonies. It was an honor, and got to meet a whole lot of people out there. It was a nice event. Also, lastly, of course, I hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving with their family and friends, but I also was able to celebrate my father's birthday on Thanksgiving Day. He turned 86, so just happy to enjoy the time with him and with my family. I had a nephew that came down from Mexico. He's 27 years old now, and I hadn't seen him in 10 years, so he was out here, and he really got to enjoy himself. I took him out to Glamis, and he had a great time, and he went skydiving. He did a lot of things that, you don't normally get to do, but he was on vacation. I really enjoyed that time. So, again, just thank you all very much for everything you do, and look forward to the next 4 years.
Fantastic. Thank you, Councilmember Nava. And moving on, for me, I attended a few events and then kind of meshed that a little bit, obviously, with some personal travel. But the Casey Welding opening, as we mentioned, fantastic store. Whether you have a reason to go there or you think you have a reason to go there or not, I urge you to go by and just take a look. They carry multiple lines kind of different products, including Yeti products. If you don't own one of those, they tend to be expensive, but they work really well. But go check it out. I'm sure they have something for everyone. But also attended my airport commission meeting. Continues to be very well attended, and it's hard to talk about that without again thinking of Mr. Gibson again. But again, there are many projects that continue to that are in the docket, I guess, for the airport. Which subsequently I went out there with one of our airport users. And one of the things I wanted to kind of throw out from that visit going out there at this next project that we have coming up, which in essence shortens the runway by a few hundred feet. I want to know if on a future date or some consideration that we can look at doing some mitigating on the west end of the airport for some deceleration. That could be kind of similar. Everyone's been up and down the grade where you see those, if a truck has a problem with its brakes, it has the turn off with kind of the soft sand, all that stuff. If we can consider something within FAA guidelines and parameters on the west side, could be a separate project, I don't know, but I did mention that I would bring that up, and I want to bring it up with my council members here present. Outside of that, the personal travel, I did not make some of the events that occurred that past weekend, but I did get to go up and enjoy the final game of the season for UC Davis against Sacramento State. That's a little crosstown rivalry, kind of like the Bell game's been. Of course, UC Davis won. That was fantastic, so they were very happy. Other than that, they had a pretty tough season. Next year, when they start, they open up with Oregon in Oregon. So we will.
That's going to be an even tougher season.
So Hunter is working on his wrist right now, hopefully getting that repaired. So he'd love nothing more to see his old buddy Royce on the field someday. So that'll be neat. But other than that, I hope everyone had a great holiday, and I look forward to the rest of the month during this holiday season. Thank you. We'll move on to item 9, our city manager's report.
Just had one item I hope to touch on with council, and that is kind of a preview of a subject that we will be bringing to the council at the next meeting. It has to do with medical marijuana and legislative changes that are scheduled to go into effect as of January 2016. We are working in concert with our city attorney to develop some language that's going to buy us some time, because in order to move in a direction of local control and run an ordinance change through the Planning Commission, then through the council, we need more time than that which remains between today and March 1st, which is an important cutoff date. So that urgency ordinance will be coming to you at the next meeting, and in addition to that, staff will be seeking direction on the topic of whether the council would like to hold a workshop on the topic, if that workshop would be joint with the Planning Commission, kind of what format do you wish to see this topic considered in the public arena? Or do you just simply want it to be scheduled along with the regular council meeting agenda? You will hear this topic more and more. All of our jurisdictions of the valley are preparing for the changes that are underway. And medical marijuana will be considered with regard to cultivation and the location of dispensaries. And so there's a whole range of actions that'll be available to the council in the final form of an ordinance, which may allow it under certain circumstances or ban it entirely. But what we're trying to do right now is preserve the local control element so we're not trumped by state law. So that item will be coming forward, and you'll see a lot more information. The League of Cities has been great at sharing a ton of content with us, and we'll forward to you information that's been developed for city council members. And that's all I have to report at this time.
Thank you to our city manager. Item 10, Treasurer's Report. A, our investment activity report, which is included in our council packet 248 to 249. Looks like we have Ruben Waller, our finance director, to come up and present on that.
This is the investment activity report through September 30th, 2015. It gives our total current positions in our investment portfolio. Our total investment portfolio as of September 30th, 2015 is a little over $35 million. With that $35 million includes still $21 million with LAIF. We hold with Community Bank $1 million. We hold with Sun Community another $1 million. And then we have various CDs, a little over $11 million. And then we have $1 million in one U.S. government bonds. Currently, the position with the CDs is that, if you recall, when we first started this with Mr. Hamilton, our approach was $1 million for so many months. We would reinvest $1 million with the latter approach, basically, and you'll see with the purchase dates and the maturity dates, they go anywhere from 2 years up to 5 years, and they range from anywhere from $245,000 up to $248,000, being that we stay insured on that front. And so what we have now is that some of those CDs are now maturing, and the way it works is as they mature, they are backed by a 5-year. So then everything then is on its way, and it just cycles as they mature. Again, as CDs are sold, we talk with our broker with multi-bank securities, and he communicates well with us as far as he'll look out and see what's out there in the market at that time, and so we can reinvest the monies. Items of note that I wanted to bring to your attention on this that may be changing, and that once I get with Mr. Miranda, now that he's on board, is going back maybe with CVB and Sun Community. Those CDs have renewed. They're at $1 million apiece that we receive the interest earnings on a monthly basis. However, I have been received the notices, plus on the statements, those interest rates that we received at one time, about 1%, are now down. CVBs now, they're I think it's 0.25, so it shows that it's less than LAIF at this point. From a 1% to down to, so we're going to look at that on when we have the opportunity. Well, actually, we have the opportunity in the sense that it's a super money market account, so that's available cash to us to reinvest in a different form. And as well as Sun Community, that percentage has, actually, Community Valley Bank, let me correct, that is 0.75. Sun Community is the one that actually went to 0.25. I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay.
So Sun Community is the one that I'm going to look at particularly, as well as CVB. Right now, it is still doing better than LAIF. In essence, and it is cash where it is available to us. So I'm not too concerned there. However, Sun Community, that's the one, since our whole goal was to do better than LAIF, and now it seems that LAIF is doing better than our local investment, so maybe we can open conversations with them and engage in that front. But other than that, this is the investment report as of September 30th, 2015. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to entertain them.
Okay.
In your report, you talk about estimated increase on return on investments versus LAIF. I think our main purpose of this was to make more money.
Correct.
Than we were getting under our current investments. So you and Mr. Hamilton arranged for us to make these investments, and we are seeing an increase in the earnings than what we would have normally have seen under
Yes.
LAIF. So it was a good change that we made, and I think it's just something we have to keep on top of because of the difference in interest rates that come up the smaller ones versus the larger ones. I do notice that you gave an estimated increase on return of about $33,000 more than we would have received originally.
Correct,
Is
and
that-
that's just to give you a summary, and so it consolidates what the current, as of September 30th, what LAIF's rate was at that time.
Right.
And then the rate below, the 1.32, that's actually just an average of all the because you'll see
difference in everything
dividend
that we
rates are vary, so it just gives you an average, just to give it an estimation of what we're receiving.
Okay.
But yes, it is overall, and again, just on the CVB and Sun Community, the goal at that point was to actually promote local relationships and not so much, so that was one thing, so that's why, instead of just removing our investment, it would just be to open up those conversations again, as it's just been, about 2 years since we actually sit down and initially made this transaction.
Yes, I think it was a very positive move, and I think by supporting the local lending institutions and those types of facilities and businesses here in Brawley, I think that's a positive move. Plus, we get more money. And so I think that's a real positive move for the city of Brawley. And some people don't think $33,000 is a lot of money, but I happen to think that it's quite a bit of money for the city.
And your time frame for talking to Sun Community?
As soon as I want to sit with Mr. Miranda first, as his position as city or any city treasurer, they're the primary oversight on investments. So I need to bring him into the conversation and basically brief him and bring him up to what has transpired and how we got to where we are today, and then move forward with, because Mr. Hamilton, in particularly with Sun Community, he was the main point of contact at that, during that transaction. When it took
attended
us.
all your meetings.
He attended all the meetings. He was actually the main point of contact between Mrs. Valenzuela and for the city.
Okay.
Very good. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ruben.
We'll move on to item 11, City Attorney's Report.
We have a lot of closed sessions, so we'll save it for that.
Okay. Item 12, City Clerk's Report.
Just want to congratulate Mrs. Howdy and welcome aboard.
Thank you.
That brings us to item 13, closed session. Our open session is ended. We appreciate everyone and hope you have a great holiday. We'll move to closed session here in about 5 minutes.
And if we can move into the room,
Yeah.
because we have a phone.